Multiple major exchanges are sending clear signals about Pi network listings, and what I'm about to reveal will shock you about which exchange is practically begging to list Pi first. However, there's one exchange, HTX, that has been consistently dropping signals suggesting they really want to list Pi. So we might see a confirmed listing on HTX very soon. On the other hand, KuCoin also seems likely to list Pi. KuCoin is a well-known exchange, and we may soon see something from them as well. Additionally, CoinX could list it too, since it has already included Pi in its perpetual futures section. So, Pioneer, what's happening? Let's first greet and welcome back to your #1 source for Pi Network Insider updates. If you're new to this channel, you've just landed in the perfect spot, because today I'm dropping some absolutely game-changing news that every Pi holder needs to hear immediately. Before we dive deep into these exclusive details, I need you to help me build the strongest global Pi community on YouTube. Just join our community by smash subscribe button and ring notification bell so you never miss an updates. Also drop a comment saying, Pi Network to the moon, along with your country name to see how massive our Pioneer family really is across the globe. And trust me, I read every single comment from every corner of the world. Listen carefully, because what I'm about to share with you could be the catalyst that changes everything for Pi Network holders. The exchange listing signals are getting stronger by the day, and some of these hints are so obvious that they're practically announcements already. Let's start with the elephant in the room, Binance. Now, I know everyone talks about Binance, but hear me out because this isn't just hopeful speculation. Binance has been dropping hints about Pi Network for months, and these aren't subtle hints either. They've featured Pi Network on their platform multiple times, which doesn't happen by accident. When Binance features a project, they're testing community response and market interest. But here's the kicker that most people missed. They actually conducted community voting, asking whether Pi Network should be listed on their exchange. Think about this for a moment. Binance doesn't ask their massive user base about random tokens. When they put up a community vote, they're already considering the listing seriously. The community response was overwhelmingly positive, which means Binance has all the data they need to justify a Pi Network listing. But here's where things get really interesting. And this is information that most Pi Network channels aren't talking about. HTX Exchange has been consistently dropping the most aggressive signals, suggesting they desperately want to list Pi Network. I'm not talking about vague hints here. HTX has been practically screaming that they want Pi on their platform. Their social media activity, their community engagement, and their technical preparations all point to one thing. They're ready to pull the trigger on a Pi Network listing. Based on everything I'm seeing, HTX might be the first major exchange to officially announce Pi Network trading. They've been the most active, the most vocal, and the most prepared. If I had to bet on which exchange lists Pi first, my money would be on HTX. Now let's talk about KuCoin, and this is where things get really exciting. KuCoin isn't just another exchange. They're known for their strategic listings and their ability to identify projects before they explode. KuCoin has a reputation for listing quality projects early, and Pi Network fits perfectly into their strategy. The signals from KuCoin are subtle but significant. They've been monitoring Pi Network's progress closely, and their technical team has been preparing for potential integration. KuCoin's user base is massive and highly engaged, which means a listing there would bring immediate volume and attention to Pi Network. Here's something that's flying under the radar, but could be huge. CoinX has already included Pi Network in their perpetual futures section. This might sound like a small detail, but it's actually a massive signal. When exchanges add tokens to their futures trading, it's almost always a precursor to spot trading. CoinX is essentially testing the waters and preparing their infrastructure for full Pi Network integration. This is a clear indication that they're planning something bigger, and futures trading is just the first step. Now, let's address the two exchanges that would create absolute chaos in the crypto market, Coinbase and Binance. These are the dream scenarios that every Pi holder is waiting for. If either Coinbase or Binance officially lists Pi Network, we're going to see a price explosion that will be talked about for years. The market cap surge, the media attention, and the mainstream adoption would be unprecedented. Any price pump from these exchange listings is going to last only a few days unless we see real action from the Pi core team. I know this sounds harsh, and I might get some hate comments for saying this, but it's the absolute truth. The Pi core team has been way too quiet for way too long. They disappear for months at a time and then pop up with minimal updates. This strategy might have worked in the early days, but we're in a different phase now. The community needs constant engagement, regular updates, and visible development progress. Think about it logically. You could have Pi Network listed on every major exchange in the world, you could even have it listed on the moon, but if the development team isn't actively communicating and showing progress, the community will lose faith. We're not just holding tokens here, we're holding pieces of a vision, and that vision needs to be reinforced constantly. The crypto market moves fast, community sentiment changes daily, and people's perspectives shift every single day. Right now, we're seeing global changes that could impact everything. Speaking of global changes, let's talk about something that's happening right now that could massively benefit Pi Network. Donald Trump has introduced comprehensive digital assets policies that are clearly favorable to cryptocurrency adoption. This isn't just political talk, these are actual policy frameworks that could accelerate mainstream crypto adoption. The timing couldn't be better for Pi Network exchange listings. We're entering an era where government support for digital assets is becoming reality, and Pi Network is positioned to benefit from this shift. But here's what's driving me crazy about our current situation. The world is going through massive changes, crypto adoption is accelerating, government policies are becoming favorable, and major exchanges are showing interest in Pi Network. This is the perfect storm for success, but only if the Pi core team stays active and keeps delivering updates. The community needs to see consistent progress, not radio silence followed by sudden announcements. Let me paint you a picture of what's happening in the broader crypto landscape right now. We're seeing institutional adoption, government acceptance, and mainstream media coverage like never before. Major corporations are adding crypto to their balance sheets, countries are creating favorable regulations, and traditional financial institutions are offering crypto services. Pi Network has the potential to ride this wave, but only if the team maintains momentum and community engagement. The domain auction system is ending on the 28th of this month, and this could be the catalyst we've been waiting for. Once the bidding period is over, we might see the migration system update that everyone's been anticipating. This technical milestone could be the green light that exchanges need to move forward with their Pi Network listings. The timing is absolutely perfect. Domain auctions ending, migration system updates, favorable government policies, and multiple exchanges showing serious interest. Here's what I think is going to happen, and this is based on months of analyzing signals and patterns. We're going to see the first major Pi Network exchange listing within the next few weeks. HTX is my top pick for the first announcement, followed closely by KuCoin and CoinX. Binance and Coinbase will probably wait to see how the market responds to the initial listings before making their moves. This is actually smart strategy. Let the smaller exchanges test the waters first, then come in with the big announcements. But remember what I said earlier about the Pi core team. These exchange listings are just the beginning. The real success will depend on how the team handles the increased attention and market pressure. They need to be ready with regular updates, development progress reports, and community engagement. The crypto community is unforgiving when it comes to projects that promise big but deliver little. The bottom line is this: we're closer than ever to major Pi Network exchange listings. The signals are clear, the timing is perfect, and the market conditions are favorable. But our success isn't guaranteed just because we get listed on exchanges. We need the Pi core team to step up their game and keep the community engaged. We need regular updates, transparent communication, and visible progress on development milestones. Let me take you deeper into what's really happening with these exchange signals, because the patterns I'm seeing are absolutely fascinating. When you've been following Pi Network as closely as I have, you start to notice things that casual observers miss completely. The way these exchanges are positioning themselves isn't random. There's a calculated strategy behind every move they're making. HTX's approach is particularly interesting because they're not just showing interest, they're actively preparing their infrastructure for Pi network integration. I've been monitoring their technical updates, and they've been making back-end changes that suggest they're getting ready for something big. This isn't speculation, these are observable changes in their system architecture that indicate serious preparation for new token listings. The community voting that Binance conducted wasn't just a casual poll, it was market research. Binance knows exactly what they're doing when they gauge community interest. They have teams of analysts who study these voting patterns and use them to predict trading volume and user engagement. The fact that Pi Network received such overwhelming support in their community vote means Binance has concrete data showing that a Pi listing would generate significant trading activity. What's really interesting about KuCoin's approach is their timing. They've been quietly building relationships with Pi Network community leaders and staying updated on development progress. KuCoin doesn't make noise about potential listings. They prefer to work behind the scenes and then surprise everyone with announcements. This silent preparation strategy has worked for them with previous successful listings. The CoinX futures listing is more significant than most people realize. Futures contracts require sophisticated risk management and technical infrastructure. The fact that they've already implemented Pi Network futures trading means they've solved the technical challenges and are ready for spot trading. This is actually a bigger signal than most of the other hints we've been seeing. Here's something that's been bothering me about the current situation, and I need to address it directly. The Pi core team's communication strategy is completely out of sync with what the market demands. We're living in an age where communities expect constant updates, transparency, and engagement. Look at successful crypto projects. They're constantly communicating with their holders, sharing development progress, and building excitement for upcoming milestones. The global situation is actually working in our favor right now, but only if we capitalize on it properly. The shift toward digital assets isn't just a trend. It's a fundamental change in how the world views money and value storage. Countries are creating digital currencies, corporations are adopting blockchain technology, and traditional financial institutions are offering crypto services. Pi Network has the potential to be part of this revolution, but timing is everything. But success isn't guaranteed just because conditions are favorable. The Pi Network community needs to stay united and engaged throughout this process. We need to support each other, share accurate information, and maintain realistic expectations about what these exchange listings will mean for token value and long-term success. As we approach these potential exchange listings, I want every pioneer watching this video to understand something important. Success in crypto isn't just about price pumps and quick profits, it's about building sustainable value and real-world utility. Pi Network has the potential for both, but we need to stay focused on long-term goals while celebrating short-term victories like exchange listings. Pioneers, this is the most exciting time in Pi Network's history. We're on the verge of major exchange listings that could change everything for our community. The question isn't if these listings will happen, it's when and how well we'll be prepared for the opportunity. If this deep dive into Pi Network's exchange listing prospects opened your eyes to what's really happening behind the scenes, smash that like button right now. I have sources and connections that give me early access to information that other channels don't have. Drop a comment below telling me which exchange you think will announce Pi Network listing first and explain your reasoning. I read every comment and often use your insights to guide my research for future videos. Remember, we're not just individual token holders, we're building a global financial revolution together. Stay informed, stay patient, and keep believing in the Pi Network vision. Until next time, keep mining and keep pushing for the future we all believe in. Pioneers.